Hi, thank you everyone. I'm going to admit my guest speaker. One second. Hi.
Hello.
Hello, friend. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm really excited about it.
Awesome. Well, hi everyone. I see all these people are joining. Thank you all for joining my live tonight. Hi. As you know, we just transitioned to fall, and winter is coming. So I thought to invite my dear friend, Hair Canvas, aka Athena, to come. She's a experienced hairstylist, and I'll let her introduce herself. But thought to invite her to kind of walk us through just winter cold season hair care. So, Athena, do you want to take it away?
Sure. Um, Hi.
Hi.
Hopefully it doesn't cut out like that again.
Hopefully, but we'll just keep going with rolling with the punches. You know,
Yeah.
technology is not always our friend, but we'll make it work somehow.
Uh, well, I guess to start off, as I'm Athena, I am the owner of Hair Canvas here in California. I am, I guess, in the East Bay, San Francisco Bay Area. I am a curl specialist. I'm also a certified Wella Master colorist. I've been in the business. Yeah, right. I've been in the business, licensed since 2004. But I guess you could say my introduction to hair in general was I was the girl who braided everybody from the age of 11 till I stopped braiding after I got my license because my hands started getting messed up. But I mean, that's a little small snippet of me.
Nice. No, thank you so that's over 17 years of experience. And we have a comment from one of our audience, you're the best at what you do. So
Ah,
everyone recognizes that.
that, but that's one of my lovely ladies. She's actually from Canada. So I really
Woo!
comes to see. She's one of my faves.
Thank you
Hi.
for joining, Princess. Hey, Dad. I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but thank you for joining. So, Athena, what got you interested in hair from the beginning?
Um, okay, so hair in general, I actually wasn't really necessarily interested in doing hair, to be very honest. I grew up like super gung ho, thinking I was gonna go to the Navy and make my way up to naval intelligence. So very different spectrum. And then basically to put it really simple is I grew up in San Francisco, and doing hair was a way that I always kept money in my pocket. And so when 9/11 hit and I decided to pull back from going to the Navy at that time, I needed something to do. And so my mom was the one who suggested, why don't you go to beauty school? And basically it's always good to have a trade to fall back on. And so
Mhm.
that ended up being my introduction into actually getting licensed and doing hair. Um, and then just to kind of bring you up to where now I specifically work with curly girls is more so, I guess, kind of having curly hair myself and having thick hair. I was always the girl that went to a salon and they hacked off my hair,
Oh,
or
wow.
bad haircuts, or it was just never what I wanted it to be. And so I had all the heartbreaks and all the mistrust
Mm.
that a lot of girls, and then seeing a lot of little girls who had curly hair and maybe had a parent that didn't really know how to do their hair, and
Mhm.
the kind of like express a lot of frustration whenever they were doing their daughter's hair, or you had a lot of little girls that had maybe a tighter coil than their parent.
Mhm.
And um, I guess you could say they would end up with like matted hair a lot of times, or
Mhm.
kind of like you can start seeing like little issues developing in their mental state in regards to their hair. And kind of became a really huge passion for me to kind of help the babies because
Yeah,
your hair is not what dictates how beautiful you are, but it's a piece of what makes you beautiful. And so it was a really big thing for me to make sure that, especially little girls, because we know that if you're that way when you're a little girl, unless you have someone to show you something different, you're going to grow up and be a woman that has those same insecurities. So I guess you could say that's kind of what started my whole little journey with really falling in love with curly girls' hair specifically,
hmm,
and wanting to make sure that we celebrated all textures from straight to curly, but more specifically, I feel like a lot of curly girls have a lot of challenges with knowing how beautiful they are.
absolutely. And first of all, thank you for that was such a beautiful story of how you got into curly hair. And I definitely agree with you. While hair is not the only thing that makes us beautiful, it's definitely a part. But I know for a fact, if I'm having a bad hair day, I feel ugly. Or sometimes I may not even want to go somewhere because I'm having a bad hair day, or not join a video call because, or turn my camera
Oh,
on a video call because I don't like the way my hair looks, or I'm not feeling my hair that day. So I definitely agree and can relate. So thank you for doing what you do and for bringing that education on top of just it's not just doing hair, but also that education and helping that emotional connection. So I really appreciate and love that about your work. Um, yeah. From your experience, what are some of the I know we had some questions that people had sent ahead of time, and we'll definitely get into those. And audience, if y'all have questions, please put them in the chat. I'll try to answer them live as well. But from your experience, Athena, what has been one of your favorite things about working with curly hair?
oh my gosh. Honestly, seeing, I will say to anybody, is seeing a woman walk back out, or a little girl, walk back out the door feeling like $1,000,000. Like seeing those shoulders go back and that neck
Mhm.
stand a little bit taller, and that little sparkle in their eye, not to, just to kind of, I guess, say it a little differently, like just the confidence change.
Mhm.
Even if today's appointment didn't necessarily get them 100% where they were going, the relief of knowing that they can obtain a certain goal, that's like my greatest reward. And it's not any one specific person. It's literally every time somebody walks out the door feeling their best, I know I did what I was supposed to do.
Absolutely. I love that. And I agree. Whenever my hair is feeling good, I just know I'm unstoppable. No matter what I got on, my hair is good, I'm good.
Yeah, you could be in sweats and a t-shirt, but your hair is bomb, and you got confidence, and you're gonna stop people.
Yes. Feeling like a million bucks for sure.
Yeah.
Nice. So as we're transitioning to I just wanted to kind of get into the topic of today's discussion. You know, we just start I think fall just started I think last week, so about a week and a half ago. And we're transitioning obviously to the colder months. Um, can you tell me, maybe talk a little bit about what like techniques changes or product changes that people should be aware of, especially not just curly hair, but especially curly hair because that is your specialty, but just things that people should be aware of as we're transitioning to the colder months.
So typically speaking, just as we transition into the colder months, is just know more so that our behaviors change. It's not so much like big hair changes in the sense of like you have a brand new set of hair that didn't exist, last week. It's more
Mm-hmm.
behaviors, and our lifestyle tends to change, and especially depending on the climate we're in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so kind of to put it generally, I would say just be aware that in the colder months, we tend to have hair that's a little bit more dehydrated, and
Mm-hmm.
hydration doesn't mean oil. And I know that that's going to be a little testy for some to hear, but it's okay. Hydration is not oil. And that's really important to understand, because I think a lot of times We are educated by YouTube University, and um, there's a lot of information that's out there that um, isn't really as friendly to everyone.
Mm.
Is we
Yeah.
kind of fall prey to what a lot of people are saying is great for them, and so we assume maybe because they might look like us or they look like what we want ourselves to look like, we think if we use their products, it's going to work. So don't fall into that trap. Um, I would just say the biggest thing is make sure you're still drinking plenty of water. Be aware that using the heater all the time can really dry your hair out because it's you're just constantly in an atmosphere, so to speak, that's drier because that's what we do in the wintertime. So hydration is just going to be really key for the next couple months. It's going to be key all year round, but just paying attention to things along those lines right now. Right now, because we're going to go into more like wet seasons and stuff too, you're probably going to end up having one of your funner seasons in the sense of being a natural because you can walk outside and get your hair wet and it's going to be okay.
Yes. No longer afraid of the water.
No, it's our friend.
Yes. And I love the way you explained it. It's not necessarily that we have new hair during the colder months. It's just a matter of like the atmosphere is different and our lifestyle is probably different. So being mindful to address those things. And I think hair and skin kind of go hand in hand. So I know for instance, my skin tends to be drier in the winter seasons. I'm more cognizant of the things that I do to stay hydrated and keep my skin moisturized. And it's pretty much, it sounds like it's fairly similar for hair as well to make sure I'm keeping it moisturized. And I love the what you mentioned. You said oil is not moisture. Can you please expound on that for all of us, please?
I'm super simple, like base level. What ends up happening when you mix water and oil? Does it actually mix or do they separate?
They separate. The oil usually goes to the top.
Exactly. So it's the same concept when you're, and it's not so much that because a lot of products have oils in it. So it's not necessarily oil is like the devil. That's not what we're trying to say or what I'm even trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Really more so just understanding that grabbing the old school coconut oil, like going to the grocery store and it's like, it's organic and it's coconut oil and you're slapping it on your hair. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that is not going to really work for you.
Mm-hmm.
And perfect example is how many people are out there right now that may have used coconut oil at one point in time and then the first thing they're doing is complaining about how dry their hair still is, and so you feel
Mm-hmm.
adding more oil. And another way to think of it is like back in the day, I don't know who still does it, but if you did, I know I grew up in the 90s, we put baby oil on our skin, but did it actually absorb into your skin or did it rub off on everything?
Rubbed up and everything.
So just kind of thinking of those same concepts, right? Like the way that we
Mm-hmm.
put certain oils on our body is and how it never actually absorbed in is kind of the same concept for your hair. And what did it do to your skin? It made your skin look really shiny, right? But
Mm-hmm.
ever really get the full moisture or did you feel like you still had ashy skin if it rubbed off? And I'm saying that from my own standpoint. I know I'm fairer than you, but I still
Mm-hmm.
get ashy looking. It's the Polynesian.
Yeah. It's like I got oily, ashy skin.
Yeah. Like, you didn't really quite hydrate. And we did all these tricks, right? It was like, oh, let me put the baby oil
Mm-hmm.
right after the shower when I'm still wet. So that way it seemed like it moisturized more, but it
Mm-hmm.
that. So kind of same concept. Like I like to talk about oil in the same way that I think of a raincoat. Is the raincoat really pretty and shiny on the outside? Yeah. But what happened to your clothes underneath the raincoat?
It stays dry.
Same concept. And what happened to
Light
you?
bulb.
What happened to the outside? The water ran right off the jacket, right? It's
Yeah, exactly.
the same concept with oil on your hair.
Light bulb moment for sure. So I want to make sure I have time to address audience questions. And I
Sure.
guess one of the questions you may have addressed earlier, but the question was, how does winter hair care differ from summer and springtime?
Um, Again, more so just I wouldn't say too much. Let's see, how can I put this? It differs with the activities that you're doing. For instance, most people might go and do summer vacations, so you're swimming more. So you're either in a pool or you're in salt water. You're doing different activities that might require a different type of shampoo, for instance, because now we have to worry about getting those particular ingredients out of your hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the wintertime, most people aren't big swimmers. You're going to be inside under a hat, under some kind of scarf, under a heater, like all these different things. And so your hair tends to be kind of roughed up, so to speak, a little bit more depending on the hats that we use,
Mm-hmm.
especially satin lined. And I'm going to just drop that little hint right in there that the lovely wraps that you have, how they're satin lined. So they're a lot more friendly to our curly girls. Just
Mm-hmm.
a little shameless drop right there.
Shameless
Um,
plug.
but so, it's more behaviors and what our lifestyles are like. That's what's really going to differentiate what you would do to your hair in the summer or spring versus winter.
Love.
And the thing is and I like to say this a little bit more generally, only because um every curly girl is like a diamond. There's no same diamond that's going to be cut the same way. So,
Mm-hmm.
what your hair is doing today is going to be different tomorrow, and it's going to be different the next day. And so it's one of those things where I can't put you into a box and say, oh, if you use 1, 2, and 3 products because you are this kind of curl pattern, you're going to have the beautiful results. That's not really quite true. We have to look at your lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
and really look at who you are and everything that encompasses who you are and your hair and your goals. And then we can kind of come up with a better plan specific to you. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, on to the next question. It says, in addition to the elements,
Okay.
do I need to protect my hair from winter fabric, for instance, wool coats, etc.?
Actually, yes. There are certain fabrics that tend to pull moisture out of the hair a lot more. Something that happens to a lot of women, not just curly girls, but definitely curly girls are some of the main ones that it happens to, is
Mm-hmm.
the back of our hair. We tend to break under here. And it's not always just because of how we're pulling our hair up into ponytails and things like that. It could be something simple as wearing wool scarves around your neck all winter long.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to kind of pay attention to things like that, because the longer your hair, especially, you're going to constantly be rubbing against certain things, and friction can start to cause some breakage if the hair is not properly hydrated. So,
Mm-hmm.
oh, and just in general. So just be aware of those kind of things.
Yeah, so like the wool coats or the cashmere scarves or the
Hmm.
wool berets, just being mindful of how they're rough against your hair and, not to be careful basically when you're using those products or
Hi.
materials. Hi, everyone. Okay. Well, I'm gonna get to the next question. It says, why does my hair get drier in the wintertime?
More than
People
likely,
want to know.
yeah. More than likely, you probably don't drink as much water as you should.
Mm.
And you're more than likely probably using things like the heater and things like that. And so just those things can contribute to us having drier skin in general. Outside of that, um, I always resort to telling somebody real quick, like, you might want to consider going to a dermatologist, because there could be things that you're doing differently during
Mm.
change. It doesn't hurt to go and see a dermatologist and ask those questions, because I can see you and I can help you take care of things that are a little bit more topical. But if you're having something internally, that's going to always be something you're going to want to go see a dermatologist for. Um, so, yeah, I guess that's kind of the short answer of that one.
Yeah. So you can see a dermatologist for hair conditions. Is that what you just said?
Yeah. Scalp conditions, like a lot of times there are, especially curly girls, they will think that they have dandruff, for instance. It gets said all the time,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I have dandruff or I have a really bad scalp. And a lot of times people just really don't shampoo their hair properly, or they have a lot of build
Mm,
out from the products that they're using. So it's one of those things to partner up with a stylist that is that runs in the same circle as you and your values. And I say that because not how I approach curls might be different than the next person. And so if your lifestyle isn't conducive to how I kind of tend to help people with their curly hair, I'm not going to be your best fit and someone else will. And so that's kind of like one of the things of even in finding a stylist too, just to kind of throw that out there, is it's really
mm,
important. Like when you're looking at a stylist page and stuff, do you see someone that looks like you? Because you might have a curly specialist, but maybe they're more specific to a looser curl. And
mm,
so it's really kind of important because if you're going to go to someone, and for you, Abby, for instance, you have a much tighter coil. If you went to someone who you saw nothing on their page but all these really loose, loopy curls, and then you went to her and she might have done an okay haircut, but you didn't walk out feeling your best. And it wasn't that she's not a great hair cutter. It's just that maybe she wasn't the best for you because what she tends to deal with is something that's looser than your hair, if that makes sense.
mm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, no, thank you. And then one more question, actually relating to scalp.
Sure.
Um, what are things that I can do to combat dry, itchy scalp during the winter?
Um, General, drink lots of water. Stop putting product directly on your scalp.
Mm, that's a good one.
Sometimes we think our hair is dry and itchy, and it's not. Again, it's buildup sitting on your scalp.
Mm,
And um, we have been taught for many, many years, it's been an age old thing that we needed to grease our scalps. And it's in a lot of nationalities, it's in a lot of cultures to basically do these like oil rituals, the old school VO5, all these different
mm,
oil our scalp. But our scalp is made up of sebaceous glands. We have
mm,
oil naturally in our scalp. If you have a problem producing oil, then
mm,
really should be seeing a dermatologist because there's something going on internally that your body is not functioning the way that it should. So if you're
mm.
with dryness and stuff like that, you might want to check your water intake and then again see a dermatologist because most likely um, it's really a result of something you're doing, not necessarily that you just have like a bad scalp or something like that.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I think the moral of the story we've heard is drink water, stay hydrated during the cold season because your
Hey,
skin and your hair will both thank you for that.
sorry, I just saw she's like my mentor. I'm gonna totally bust her out right now. She's from Freshly Rooted Salon in Oklahoma. So I just wanted to say hi.
Hi, thank you for joining Freshly Rooted Salon and everyone else for joining. Thank you all. So those were the questions that came in. I'm gonna pause to see if there's any questions that anyone wants to put in the chat box. If not, I think we're at a good spot. I got some good notes from today for sure. The lifestyle changes and being mindful of making sure I'm drinking water and addressing buildup. And if anything else, go to see a dermatologist because they could help with scalp conditions, skin conditions, obviously, but scalp conditions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also too, like I said, partner up with a great stylist.
Yeah.
There are a lot of really good stylists, and then there's a lot of people that just they're great, but maybe not necessarily the best for you. So really do your research. It's nothing against anybody. It's just really just finding somebody that works best for you. That's all. And your
Absolutely.
value with your
Yeah, absolutely. All righty. Well, thank you so much, Athena, for joining me. I've got some great notes and I'm equipped and ready for the winter. And I'm not going to have dry hair this winter. So thank you. And thank you, everyone, for joining. Maybe, Athena, do you mind just telling everyone how they could find you and follow you for more tips and hair
Yeah.
hair information?
Sure. So again, I'm Athena. You can follow me here on Instagram at Hair Canvas. You can also drop me an email at athena@haircanvasinc.com. So that's Athena at Hair Canvas Inc. And I actually spell ink with a K.com. You can also go to my, what do you call this thing, my little profile on Instagram, and there's also like a little link there to like my website and stuff like that. So I'm totally available for any questions. And I'm a total honest kind of straight shooter, so if I can't help you, I will definitely point you in the right direction of somebody I know who can.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Athena, and thank you, everyone. Stay tuned for more lives. I aim to have lives at least every 3 weeks on Sundays at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So stay tuned for my next live. And you can follow me also at Ayocathy1, so AYOCATHY1 on Instagram. Alrighty, thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.